Good morning, students. Today I am explaining a lesson for first language English medium students in Karnataka state syllabus. The title of that lesson is The Elixir of Life. The Elixir of Life, written by C.V. Raman, a famous scientist who got Nobel Prize for his famous work Raman Effect. He was also awarded by the Prime Minister of Soviet Union also. That's one of the famous scientists in India. In this lesson, this is not a story. This is the importance. He has already explained the importance of water on the earth. So I will give you some important points in this lesson. The author says that from time immemorial, our people, they have been trying to get an elixir of life. Elixir means a medical liquid which keeps immortality of our life. Immortality, that means we will not die. Opposite of mortal is called as immortality. So this elixir is called as a magical liquid which is used for keeping immortality of life. In Puranas, we heard about Amrita, a liquid. It is only a belief, this Amrita is only a belief which we heard throughout our ancient Puranas. In Mahabharata and moreover in Ramayana also, you might have heard this word Amrita, because this is used for living our life immortal. This is only a belief. So man has made a tremendous effort to make a liquid which gives immortality, but in vain. They could not succeed. But according to the writer C.V. Raman, he says that we need not bother or we need not think about that Amrita. Really speaking, Amrita reaches in our life. It reaches near our hand. It is on earth itself. We need not think about Amrita. According to C.V. Raman, Amrita is real water, or plain water is Amrita. Plain water is Amrita. So C.V. Raman says that it is waste or it is useless to waste our energy to find a new liquid. But new liquid, Amrita is our plain water itself, nothing else. Because it plays an important role in our life. Water plays a crucial role, or water plays an important role. Water is very important in our life. Without water we cannot live. No plants can survive. No animals can survive. So water is very important in our life. Water. We should give importance to water. That is what he says in this lesson. Raman says that water enhances the beauty of a village. Water enhances the beauty of village. The rain-fed water in South India, it's a cheerful sight. And moreover, it says that we are getting the main source of water, rainwater. We are getting rainwater is the main source of water. Then we will get water from pond, well, etc., river. All are the main source of water. But main source of water is rainwater is the main source of water. But unfortunately, we can see that nowadays the quantity of water is already decreased. The rainwater is also decreased. We can see what are the reasons. Our scientists points out some reasons for the decline of this rainwater. He says that there are many reasons which are responsible for decline in this rainwater or rain. First one is that deforestation. Deforestation is very important thing. That means we are ruthlessly, or human beings, we are ruthlessly or cruelly cutting the trees. So when we are cutting the trees, definitely it will affect rainwater. The temperature in the earth will be increased. The quantity of carbon dioxide will be increased. So it will affect that water cycle. There is a term called as a water cycle. It is completely related. So deforestation is one of the important factors which causes the decline of this rainwater. Another thing is that soil erosion is also another problem. Rainwater is very important for keeping our soil. It is very important. I told you that it is important not only for animals but also for human beings. It is important for cultivation. Cultivation can be done only with the help of water. Our scientist just recollects his past. One day while he was standing on the line of the valleys of Nile, he saw some difference between the two areas. One is Thar Desert, where there was no trees. There were no trees. It was completely sandy. It was billowed or spreaded sandy, completely sand. That area was completely covered with the sand. There was no vegetation. There was no people. There was no inhabitation. You can say that without water, without vegetation, nobody can survive. But on the other side, he saw crowded city. That means near that valleys of that Nile, because Nile River helped to improve the civilization or our Egyptian civilization. We know that it was really helped by the Nile water. Nile water was main reason for the development of that civilization. So C.V. Raman lastly concludes that we should make a maximum effort. We should make a scientific research for the improvement of this water. We should make scientific research. It is very advantageous for human beings. I told you that it is very essential to sustain our life. It is very essential for sustaining our life. Moreover, for transportation also it is very important. Cheap forms of transport is possible through sea. It is very cheap means of transport is done through seawater. So it is very important. Another thing is, it creates hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity is very essential for our life. So water is very important. We should give importance for conserving water. Without water, nobody can survive. So all methods should be done, or we should all do scientific method to preserve our water in this earth. That is what he says. I am reading the lesson. You take lesson. After that I will explain again, and after that, if you have any doubt, you can tell me. After a few days you will get notes also. The elixir of life. I told you, the elixir. That means a liquid substance which has a magical power. A liquid substance which has a magical power. Elixir. Man has through the ages sought in vain for an imaginary elixir of life, the divine Amrita, to confer immortality. But the true elixir of life lies near to our hands, for it is the commonest of all liquids, plain water. So, in the first para, he said that man has tried his level best to find out a liquid which gives immortality. But in vain, means failed. He could not succeed, he failed. So lastly he says the most or the commonest of all liquids is water. Water is more important than any other thing. I remember one day standing on the line which separates the Libyan desert from the valley of the Nile in Egypt. On one side was visible a sea billowing sand without a speck of green or a single living thing anywhere visible on it, while on the other side lay one of the greenest, most fertile and densely populated areas to be found anywhere on the earth, teeming with life and vegetation. What made this wonderful difference? Why, it is the water of the river Nile flowing down to the Mediterranean from its sources a couple of thousands of miles away. I remember one day standing on the line which separates the Libyan desert from the valley of the Nile in Egypt. So C.V. Ram recollects his past memory when he was standing in a line. That line separated two places. That line separates two places from Thar desert, and another one is that valley of Nile. One is Thar. That line separates two places. On the one side, we can see vast areas of desert. On another side, we can see valleys of Nile. So the difference between the two sides. On one side, there are crowded people, teeming. That means crowded people, and moreover trees or vegetation and inhabitants were there. But on the other side, there were no vegetation, scarcity or no people. There was no inhabitation. On one side was visible a sea of billowing sand without a speck of green or a single living thing anywhere visible on it, while on other side lay one of the greenest, most fertile and densely populated areas to be found anywhere on the earth, teeming with life and vegetation. It was completely full of vegetation. People, there was crowd of people he saw on one side. That means on the valleys of that Nile. But on the other side, there was no vegetation, no population. So the difference, what is the difference? Due to the lack of or due to the scarcity of water, Thar desert was there was no water facility in Thar desert. But on the other side, Nile River promotes or gives water abundantly or largely. We get water abundantly from that river, Nile River. Why? It is the water of the river Nile flowing down to the Mediterranean from its sources a couple of thousands of miles away. So the second Baravi says, what is the reason between these two places? On one side, we can see vegetation, large number of people, inhabitants, everything we can see. Civilization, Egyptian, we know that all the entire civilization was flourished there only due to the river of Nile, or only due to the water supplied by the river Nile. Geologists tell us that the entire soil of the Nile Valley is the creation of river itself. It was brought down as the finest silt. Silt means mud. Geologists tell us that the entire soil of the Nile Valley is the creation of the river itself. It is brought down as the finest silt in its floodwaters from the highland of Abyssinia and from the remote Central Africa, and laid down through the ages in the trough through which the Nile flows into the sea. Egypt, in fact, was made by its river. Its ancient civilization was created and is sustained by the life-giving water which comes down year after year with unfailing regularity. So the writer says that on one side, a very famous civilization was flourished only due to the supply of that water from that Nile River. But on the other side, there was no vegetation, There is no population, completely sandy. Sandy, spreaded, sandy area, below. Below means spreading over, below. Completely, below, spread over, below. I give this example and could give many others to emphasize that this common substance which we take for granted in our everyday life is the most potent. Potent means powerful, powerful. I give this example and could give many others to emphasize that this common substance which we take for granted in our everyday life is the most potent and most useful thing on the face of our earth. It has played a role of vast significance in shaping the course of the earth's history and continues to play the leading role in the drama of life on the surface of our planet. So Siviraman says that this precious thing or this water plays an important role for shaping the life of human beings. It already makes or it already makes a change for improving our life completely. The entire life is changed. There is nothing which adds so much to the beauty of the countryside as water, be it just a little stream trickling over the rocks of a little pond by the wayside where the cattle quench their thirst. Quench means if you are feeling thirsty, we will take water. If you are feeling thirsty, we will drink water. At that time, we will get some relief. It is called as quench the thirst. We will say, my thirst is quenched. There is nothing which adds so much to the beauty of the countryside as water, but it is just a little stream trickling over the rocks or a little pond by the wayside where the cattle quench their thirst of an evening. We can see, Siviraman says that it enhances or it increases the beauty of nature. Water increases the beauty of nature. For example, when there is rain-fed water, we can see it is a cheerful sight. There is nothing which adds so much to the beauty of the countryside as the landscape. The beauty of the landscape is completely changed due to the availability of water. Be it just a little stream trickling over the rocks or a little pond by the wayside where the cattle quench their thirst of an evening. We can see that in the countryside, in the villages, cattle will come to quench their thirst. It is a beautiful sight. The rain-fed tanks that are so common in South India, alas, often so sadly neglected in their maintenance, are a cheering sight when they are full. Another thing, Siviraman says that the rain-fed tanks in South India are also a cheerful sight or beautiful sight. But at the same time he says, alas, that means he is surprised and he says that we are not maintaining that properly. We are not maintaining that tank properly. Even though it is a cheerful sight, human beings we are not taking any interest to maintain that beauty or that scenery. The rain-fed tanks that are so common in South India, alas, often so sadly neglected in their maintenance, are a cheering sight when they are full. When that tank is full, it will become very beautiful. It will look very beautiful, even though we are not maintaining properly. There are of course shallow, but this This is less evident since the water is silt-laden and throws the light back, and the bottom does not therefore shows up. These tanks play a vital role in South Indian agriculture. So, it carries a silt also. Silt means mud, I told you. When river flows, you can see that it will take or it carries some silt or mud. When that mud is deposited in a place, it will become very fertile or it is suitable for cultivation. When the river flows, while flowing the river, it will take or it carries some silt or mud also. After that mud is deposited in a place. Lastly, that place is very suitable for cultivation or it is very fertile land. Some of these tanks are surprisingly large and it is beautiful sight to see the sunrise or set over one of them. Water in landscape may be compared to the eyes of human face. Even when compares this water in the eyes of a human being, that means during daytime it will be very cheerful, but when it becomes dark, it will become sad. He makes a comparison between the human eyes and this water or this river. Sometimes during the daytime, when the sun shines, it will become very beautiful, we can see very beautiful. But when it becomes dark or when there is cloud, that beauty will be lessened or decreased, it will become sad. So he compares that sight with the eyes of human beings. It reflects the mood of the hour, being bright and gay. When the sun shines, turning to dark and gloomy, when the sky is overcast. Sometimes it will become very cheerful and sometimes it will become very gloomy. One of the most remarkable facts about water is its power to carry silt or finely divided soil in suspension. This is the origin of the characteristic color of the water in rain-fed tanks. The color varies with the nature of the earth in the catchment area and is most vivid immediately after a fresh inflow flowing rain. Swiftly flowing water can carry fairly large and heavy particles. The finest particles, however, remains floating within the liquid in spite of their great density and are of course extremely small, but their numbers is great. One of the most remarkable facts about water is its power to carry silt or finely divided soil in suspension. I told you just now. It is an important capacity, one of the important characteristics of this water. It has certain capacity to carry soil by flowing. It takes or it carries soil on its flow or while it is flowing. This is the origin of the characteristic color of the water in rain-fed tanks. We can see that the color of that water varies from place to place. It depends upon the color of the soil which it carries. If it carries a red soil, the color of that soil will also be red. And the color of that water will also be red. If it carries black soil, sometimes its color, the color of that water may also be red. So, the color of the water may vary from place to place and from soil to soil. It depends upon the variety of soil which it takes. Swiftly flowing water can carry fairly large and heavy particles. The finest particles, however, remain floating within the liquid in spite of their greater density and are of course extremely small, but their number is also great. The flow of water has undoubtedly played a great part and a beneficent one in the geological process by which the soil on the earth's surface has been formed from the rocks of its crust. The same agency, however, under appropriate conditions can also play a destructive part and wash away the soil, which is the foundation of all agriculture, and if allowed to proceed unchecked can have the most disastrous effects on the life of the country. The problem of soil erosion is one of the serious import in various countries and especially in many parts of India. The conditions under which it occurs and the measures by which it can be checked deserve the closest study. So, the flow of water has undoubtedly played a great part and a beneficent one in geological process by which the soil on the earth's surface has been formed from the rocks of its crust. It means that when the water is flowing rapidly, when it is flowing rapidly or suddenly, it will take the upper surface of that soil also. When there is soil erosion, what will happen? The upper layer of that soil is completely removed. When that process is continued, that upper layer will be completely washed away. Lastly, it may cause for the formation of rock. We should understand, because when the water is flowing rapidly or when it flows continuously or suddenly, the sudden outflow, sudden outburst of water will make soil erosion. When that soil erosion is continued, that place will become rocky. Upper surface will completely washed away and it will cause for the formation of rocks. That rock, after that, we cannot cultivate that place without soil. So soil erosion should be prevented. Otherwise, we will feel difficulty to cultivate our land. The same agency, however, under appropriate conditions can also play a destructive part and wash away the soil, which is foundation of all agriculture, and if allowed to proceed unchecked, can have the most disastrous effect on the life of the country. The problem of soil erosion is one of the serious imports in various countries and especially in many parts of India. The conditions under which it occurs and measures by which it can be checked deserve the closest study. So, C.V. Raman says we should check soil erosion. Unless we check soil erosion, the surface part of our earth will be completely washed away and lastly our land will become barren land, only rock will be emerged. So, scientific studies should be done. Soil erosion occurs in successive steps, the earliest of which may easily pass unnoticed. In later stages, the cutting up and washing away of the earth is only too painfully apparent in the formation of deep gullies and ravines, which make all agriculture impossible. Some deep gullies will be formed. Great soil erosion may be taken place slowly or gradually. After that, what will happen? It will make some deep gullies and ravine. It's very dangerous or destructive. Sudden burst of excessively heavy rain resulting in large runoff, surplus water are the principal factors in causing soil erosion. I told you that the main reason of soil erosion is sudden outburst of water, rapid flow of water. Sudden burst of excess rainwater is responsible. Contributory causes are the slope of another factor which are responsible for soil erosion are slope of the land, then removal of the natural protective coat of vegetation, the existence of ruts. Rut means a deep path is called a rut. Removal of the natural protective coat of vegetation, the existence of ruts along which the water can flow with a rapidly gathering momentum, in high speed, in a high altitude, in high level, peak level, and the absence of any checks to such a flow. Incredibly large quantities of precious soil can be washed away in such conditions, if such conditions exist, as is unhappy too often the case. So he says that we should keep our soil because rapid flow of water will wash away, it will remove the productive cover of the soil. After that, vegetation will be completely washed away. The menace which soil erosion presents to the continuance of successful agriculture is an alarming one in many parts of India. The menace means threat or danger, menace. The menace which soil erosion presents to the continuance of successful agriculture is an alarming one in many parts of India. So the soil erosion, it is a curse, it is a menace in many parts of our country or India. Calling urgently for attention and preventive action. So we should take preventive measures as fast as possible. We should check the soil erosion in the beginning itself. Otherwise, it will become a dangerous thing. The terracing of the land, construction of bunds to check the flow of water, the practice of contour cultivation and the planting of appropriate types of vegetation are amongst the measures that have been suggested. It is obvious that the aim should be to check the flow of water at the earliest possible stage before it has acquired any appreciable momentum and correspondingly large destructive power. That means contour cultivation is an important method which we can follow to prevent the soil erosion. That means that type of cultivation is done based on the same elevation, same height. That's called contour type of cultivation. We can do cultivation based on the same type of height or elevation. That is contour cultivation. Same type of elevation. Based on the elevation or height, the terracing of the land. The next thing is that we can level the ground. Firstly, after leveling the ground or terracing the land, we can cultivate. It is also another method to prevent the soil erosion. The terracing of the land, construction of bunds to check the flow of water, the practice of contour cultivation and the planting of appropriate types of vegetation are amongst the measures that have been suggested. It is obvious that the main should be to check the flow of water at the earliest possible stage before it has acquired any appreciable momentum and correspondingly large destructive power. So the scientist says that the earlier measures should be taken. Immediate measures should be taken. Otherwise, when it is reached its momentum, we will become helpless. Our land will become a desert or it will become sandy only. In the beginning, we can take various methods. One method is the contour cultivation, I told you, based on the elevation. Another is like terracing the land, leveling the land, another thing. So, we can take many steps to prevent the soil erosion. Otherwise, if we are postponing, it will become very dangerous to society or for our health. Water is the basic of all life. Every animal and every plant contains a substantial proportion of free or combined water in its body, and no kind of physiological activity is possible in which the fluid does not play an essential part. Water is, of course, necessary for animal life, while moisture in the soil is equally imperative for life and the growth of plants and trees. The preservation and utilization of water is thus fundamental for all human welfare. Apart from artesian water, the ultimate source in all cases is rain or snowfall. Much of Indian agriculture depends on seasonal rainfall and is therefore very sensitive to any failure or irregularity of the same. The problems of soil erosion and of adequate or irregular rainfall are closely connected with each other. It is clear that the adoption of techniques preventing soil erosion would also help to conserve and keep the water where it is wanted. In other words, on and in the soil, and such techniques therefore serve a double purpose. Water is the basic of all life. So, Siddharaman says it is very essential in our life. Just like moisture is very essential for the growth of plants, moisture is required for the growth of plants. Otherwise, plants will not survive. Just like moisture is required, just like moisture in the soil, water is important for animals. It is very important. So we should preserve it. The problem of soil erosion and of adequate irregular rain. Another thing is that regular rainfall. We should get irregular rainfall. Then only cultivation is possible. So regular rainfall is very important. Unfortunately, in our country, agriculture is at the mercy of rainfall. If there is no rainfall, our crops will be failure. Our farmers will suffer. We cannot cultivate in time. So crop failure may happen unless we check this soil erosion and unless we get the rainwater. In other words, on and in the soil and such techniques therefore serve a double purpose. Another thing is that it is a double purpose also. We can see what is the double purpose. That means we have some many other uses also. We all of us know during the summer season there will be some kind of power cut, power off, because there will be shortage of water. So in the dam area, shortage of water can be seen. At that time, the electricity department will be forced to make power cut. So we can make electricity also with water. Hydroelectricity, it is the cheapest means of transport electricity. So it is impossible if there is no water, we won't get electricity. We cannot create electricity. So there is a double purpose for this water. One is drinking, another is to create electricity. It is evident, however, that in a country having only a seasonal rainfall, an immense quantity of rainwater must necessarily run off the ground. What happens, unfortunately, rainwater is running off. Finally, it reaches to sea, either it reaches to sea or some other rivers. We are not preserving, we are not keeping the rainwater. That is important method which we should follow. The water during the rainy season, we may get water, we are getting rainwater, but what it will be flown or it flows and finally it reaches to river or some other seas. We are not doing any steps to preserve water. We should store water. It is evident, however, that in a country having only a seasonal rainfall, an immense quantity of rainwater must necessarily run off the ground. The collection and utilization of this water is therefore of vital importance, very important. We should collect, we should store the water. Much of it flows down into streams and rivers and ultimately finds its way to the sea. Lastly, it reaches to the sea. Incredibly large quantities of the precious fluid are thus lost into the country. So what happened? It is very precious thing. The beginning we told that water is very precious. But what happens during the rainfall? It flows and lastly it reaches to the sea. We are not keeping that precious thing. The harnessing of our rivers, what that means controlling. We should control, we should harness it, we should control the harnessing of our rivers. The waters of which now mostly run to waste is a great national problem which must be considered and dealt with on national lines. vast areas of land which at present are mere scrub jungles could be turned into fertile and prosperous country by courageous and well-planned action. We know that you can see some scrub jungles. Scrub jungles means some stunted trees. That means not big forest. Stunted trees can be seen in some area. That is called a scrub jungle. Scrub jungle. Scrub jungle. Stunted trees can be seen. So, if you are getting water, this type of scrub jungle can be converted for cultivation. We can cultivate, we can use this type of land if we are getting large or if we are getting abundant water. Closely connected with the conservation of water supplies is the problem of afforestation. Afforestation means the planting of trees to make, we can increase our area of forest by afforestation. Afforestation methods should be done. The systematic planting of suitable trees in every possible or even in impossible areas, and the development of what we can call civilized forest as distinguished from wild and untamed jungles is one of the most urgent needs of India. Such plantations would directly and indirectly prove a source of untold wealth to the country. They could check soil erosion. They would check soil erosion, conserve the rainfall of the country from flowing away to waste. Closely connected with the conservation of water supplies is the problem of afforestation. A systematic planting of suitable trees in every possible or even in impossible areas, and the development of what we can call civilized forest as distinguished from wild and untamed jungles is one of the most urgent needs. So what the writer says that we can do afforestation, we should give importance for afforestation. There are some other jungles where our many animals are living. It is very precious for our, it is very important, it is a wealth for our country. Moreover, we can make our own forest by planting new trees. Systematic plantation, systematic planting should be done to increase the area of forest. Systematic planting of suitable trees in every possible or even in impossible areas, and the development of what one can call civilized forest. We can call it as a civilized forest. We can plant trees in some improper area also we can do. After that, the area of that forest can be increased. The measures necessary to control the movement of water and conserve the supplies of it can also serve subsidiary purpose of value to the life of the countryside. By far, the cheapest form of internal transport in a country is by boats and barges. Barges means large boats, flat type, large boats, barges. We hear much about the programs of rail and road construction, but far too little about the development of internal waterways in India. Then again, the harvesting of water supplies usually also makes possible the development of hydroelectric power. The availability of electric power would make a tremendous difference to the life of the countryside and enable the rural economy to be improved in various directions. In particular, it would enable underground water to be tapped to a great extent than at present, and thus help to overcome the difficulties arising from irregularity or inadequacy of other sources of supply. The measures necessary to control the movement of water and conserve the supplies of it can also serve the subsidiary purpose of way of life in the countryside. I told you that it is very helpful in the countryside and throughout our country we want to get electricity. So in addition for drinking and for cultivation, it is very useful for some other purpose also. We will get hydroelectricity. We can make hydroelectricity only with the help of this water. By far the cheapest form internal transport. Another thing is that internal transport, that means the cheapest forms of transport. We know that there are different ways of transport. One is rail transport, road transport, and more we can travel through flight also. All these are very costly, but the cheapest form of transport is water transport. Water transport, either by boat or ship, we can reach, we can travel. So boat can be used for internal waterways. We can consider internal waterways with the help of this water. Then again, the harvesting of water supplies usually also makes possible the development of hydroelectric power. The availability of electric power would make a tremendous difference to the life of the countryside and enable the rural economy to be improved in various directions. It will improve the rural area, village people. It is very useful for them. If it is done, it is very helpful for the village. In particular, it would enable underground water to be tapped to a greater extent than at present, and thus help to overcome the difficulties arising from irregularity or inadequacy of other sources of supply. If you are doing these methods, we will get underground water very early or very easily in the villages. They will get the underground water very easily if you are doing this type of things. This internal waterway is created or constructed. It is very helpful. It is very helpful for the village people or villages. In one sense, water is the commonest of liquids. In another sense, it is most uncommon of liquids with amazing properties which are responsible for its unique power of maintaining animal and plant life. The investigation of the nature and properties of water is therefore of the highest scientific interest and is far from an exhausted field of research. So lastly, the writer concludes that there are many advantages of water. We should do all steps, we should make all scientific research for conserving our water. We should always preserve our water. Unless we preserve it, our life will be in danger. So the writer says we should make maximum effort to preserve our water. Water is very essential in our life. It maintains our life. It is very important for plants, plant life and animal life. So again I am saying that unfortunately there are many factors responsible for the decline of this water. One I told you, deforestation is an important thing. Soil erosion is also another important thing. All these things are responsible. Then another thing, we should keep our soil properly. We can keep our soil only with the help of this water or rainwater. Water is very precious, so scientific method or all different kinds of research should be done to increase or to preserve our precious things, that is water. So water is more important than Amrita, according to the writer. It reaches near our place. It is very near. We need not spend our time to find another liquid. Water is the most important thing. It is Amrita. It is greater than, its value is greater than Amrita. So we should give importance for water. Okay, it is finished. In the next, after a few days, you will get that notes. So I am concluding. It is already ended. Thank you. You please don't forget to give likes and subscribe. Thank you again.